I'm standing here in a group here at Otakon, and we're having an awesome time. And I'm telling everyone how you scarred me for life by calling Star Trek Star Trash. So, you know, it's probably for the best that you didn't answer your phone. Okay, I love you, bye. Okay, where was I? Okay. Oh, my list. So anyway, Star Trek, I have a Star Trek web series that I started. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out as soon as possible. It's called Star Trek Continues. It picks up right where the original series was canceled back in the late 60s, and it finishes the 5-year mission of the Enterprise. And I'm getting to fulfill my childhood dream of playing Captain Kirk. That's right, that's right. Man, this guy knows his homework right here. So even though my web series, it's really popular, it's got like 7 million views, and we've won a dozen awards, but it's not official Star Trek, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a CBS official licensed TV show, it's just my passion project. We've done it at a very high production level, but it's still just my passion project. However, Star Trek Online is official Star Trek. This is a CBS, licensed production, and they cast me to play the captain of a starship.
Aww.
Captain Garrett. That's right, baby. So after all these years, I'm actually, I could say, I'm officially a part of Star Trek. Mobile Legends, Skip Beat, 7 Nights, One Punch Man. You like that show? Yeah, I played this character that had like 7 heads. He was a bad guy, and every one of the heads had a voice. Literally, I would like, okay, be this head, and I would follow that head around the screen, and like when he talked, that guy, and then you go to another head and change it up a little bit. They had different personalities, so that was fun. Rory Kent movie. Danganronpa, Sonic the Hedgehog, Orange, Token Ranbu, Galilidana, Drifters, Yuri on Ice. You girls. You girls and your Yuri on Ice. Umaru, Joker Game, Nambaka, League of Legends, One Piece. One Piece fans here? Yes! I sang like 3 of the One Piece theme songs. Thank you. This guy gets an A in this class. And then I played 3 or 4 episodic characters, but then I just got cast to play Sabo, which is pretty awesome. I'm really excited about that. And then finally, there's a couple I can't talk about yet, but one that I can talk about, I'm very excited about, is called The Reflection. You guys, check this out, all right? The executive producer is Stan Lee, and it's an anime-style superhero story, and I'm one of the main characters, this superhero guy, and it's really cool. I'm very excited about it, so check that out. The Reflection, it's called. Okay, so that's my list. So, okay, let's talk about anything you want to talk about. I will tell you, I'm an open book, like whatever you want to talk about, heavy, light, funny, simple. I have to sing something for you though. And I'll tell you why. Because by tomorrow, my voice will be shot. So, I was feeling musical today, feeling a little musical, and I was feeling a little Journey. sleep alone tonight, sending all my love across the wire. Who's a child? They say that the road ain't no place to start a family. Right down the line, it's been you and me. Love and music, man, ain't always what it's supposed to be. Oh, girl, won't you stand by me? I'm forever yours, faithfully. Circus life, that's all the words I know. I don't have more words. I just walked in there like, what is this thing? Guys, are you crazy? Anyway, let's take questions. So who's got a question? Let's just start us off. Yes, my dear.
What is your favorite ship with any of the characters you've done?
Oh dear.
Good, we started that one off good, didn't we? You know what my favorite ship is? The Enterprise. Psych! Yes, sir.
Arslan, when's the next season?
I don't know. Have you been watching? It's a cool show, isn't it? Isn't that guy, what's that guy's name? Is it Silver Mask? Is that him? Homies? He's cool. Yeah. He's one of those people, you know, it's kind of funny. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Phantom of the Opera. Because he wears this mask because he's so hideous under the mask, right? And they build it up and build it up and build it up, and you can only imagine how hideous this guy must be, right? And then he takes the mask off and you're like, what? It's a zip! Like, you cut yourself shaving. You know what I mean? Like, there was nothing to it. It was just like nothing, not scary at all. Like, dadgummit. Like, if you're gonna build it up, right? Right? Just like Phantom. Like Phantom of the Opera. I don't know when the next one's coming out, but I hope it's soon, believe me. Question. You had one, didn't you?
I didn't realize you did a voice for Danganronpa. Could you say who you were?
No. Red-haired guy? I'll go with that. You know, one of the problems with doing a lot of anime is you can't keep track of it all. You know, if you'd have asked me 15 years ago, like, what character did you play in such and such, I'd only done like, 10 or 15 shows. So it was easy to keep track. But nowadays, I've done over 300. And especially, and here's something else that's important to remember, you guys. Unlike a stage play, where you have to learn your lines, and then you rehearse the show, right, every night before you perform it. And then you perform it for several weeks, right? So then 20 years from now, you're still quoting lines. You remember your character in that show, and the lines you said, because you probably even remember everybody else's lines, because you spent so much time with it. Well, with anime, you walk into the studio, and they go, here's your script. You go, okay, and go. And you do the lines, and if you do them right the first time, guess what? You never say them again. So, and then you're on to another session this afternoon. So, those sessions and a lot of those characters, they just kind of fade off into the past somewhere, you know? And you remember what you're working on now, but it's hard to keep track sometimes of some of the stuff you did. Yes, sir.
So you're creating Star Trek Continue.
That's correct. StarTrekContinues.com. Shameless plug.
Yes. And after what I just heard, what I want to know is, are you making your own soundtrack for it? Like all the songs?
You know what? I love that you even asked that. And I'll tell you the cool thing. One of the cool things about Star Trek Continues is this. The original series music, the music that they created for the original series of Star Trek is very specific, it's very recognizable. It has a particular style and quality to it from the late 60s. It wasn't like today's music and TV shows. Today's music and TV shows really, how do we even say this? It's more soundscape. It's more like pads and sound effects and right? But it's more soundscape. It's not melodic. That's a good word. There's not a melody you can sing. It's not da 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 da, right? Bum 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 bum. Jurassic Park. You know, da 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 da. Superman. Like there's no melody. It's just sounds and pads and weird noises. But back then it was melodic. There was a motif for different characters and different moods. And so when we started Star Trek Continues, I was like, well, we have to use the original series music. Like, that kind of music, you can't even make that now. And that's something you can't. It's a real orchestra, by the way. So where am I going to get a real orchestra? Right? And where would I get original compositions like that? So our first 4 or 5 episodes, our first 3 episodes, we used music from the original series of Star Trek. There was a multi-CD collection that was released, the complete collection. It was all the tracks of just music. And because of my music background, I knew how to choose the exact cue that had the mood and the tempo and the emotion that this moment needed, and I would do all of the music editing. Well then, as we were preparing for our 4th episode, I was contacted by a guy named Andy Farber, and Andy said to me, I'm a composer, and I love your series, and I would love to write some original music for you. And I thought, well, I mean, I'm honored. That would be wonderful, except, you know, it's very specific kind of music. People that write music today for television, they don't write that kind of stuff. And I asked him if he would send me a sample. I said, well, you know, if you want to write a sample, give me an example of what you could do, something that sounds like it could have been created in the original series. So he sent me an example, and I was like, whoa, wow, this is good. And that's when I found out that Andy Farber teaches music composition at Juilliard in New York City. And he had access to a student orchestra. So starting with episode 4, and then on to 5, 6, 7, Andy Farber has created original, and I've flown up there and we've done recording sessions with a full orchestra. And we've intermingled original themes that Andy has written with original series themes. And then our last 2 episodes, 10 and 11, 9 was just released a week and a half ago. And thank you. It's a great story. You guys should check. By the way, they're all free. In case you think I'm trying to get, he's trying to get me to sign up for something, monthly charge. No, all free. They're on YouTube and Vimeo. We have 9 episodes online, full-length episodes. They're great stories, well-crafted, make you think like classic Star Trek used to do. And then 10 and 11 are going to be out in mid-October and mid-November. So, and by the way, 10 and 11 are going to be our series finale. Now, let me tell you why that's important. Star Trek in the late 60s was canceled. Abruptly, just shut down in the middle of its 3rd season. So it never had an ending. It just stopped. And the next time you saw Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock and Dr. McCoy was 10 years later in Star Trek The Motion Picture.
What about the animated series?
Doesn't count. But by the time the motion picture came out, you guys, Captain Kirk had taken a promotion to Admiral. He wasn't even the captain of the Enterprise anymore. And Spock had gone back to Vulcan to pursue some discipline to purge remaining emotion from him. And Dr. McCoy had quit the service altogether. Went home, grew a beard. So we started thinking, I wonder what happened. Why they made the decisions that they made that left them where they were when we saw them in the motion picture. So what we've done is we've crafted stories that are going to answer all of those questions. And our final episode is going to leave the Enterprise and Kirk and Spock and McCoy right where they were when the motion picture starts. So it's going to perfectly fill the gap between the original series cancellation and the motion picture. So even if you're not an original series fan, bet you somebody in your family is, bet your dad is, or your uncle, or school teacher, or neighbor, tell them about Star Trek Continues. Star Trek Continues. Star Trek Continues. .com. Yes, ma'am.
Is the script written yet for the finale?
Oh, baby. Is the script written? They're shot. They're done. They're done. They're done and edited. In fact, episode 10, on the flight here yesterday from LA, I had my laptop and I was choosing music for different moments on the plane the whole way here. The episode is being sound designed right now, and then 11 is done and edited, and that'll be right after 10. So, oh yeah, they're already finished. They're edited. In fact, if you beat me up and took my phone, there are pictures on my phone. That a lot of Star Trek fans would love to see. Don't get any ideas. So, yes.
What's the best lesson you've learned over the course of your career, whether it's for voice acting or just entertainment in general?
That's a heavy question. I don't know. Too many. You know, I will tell you one thing. Hope you don't mind me sharing this. It's important, though. It's important to me. My faith plays a very big part in my life. I'm not shoving it down anybody's throat. Please don't go home and say Vic was, shoving his religion down our throat. Sorry, not so. But it's important to me. And I've often, I remember how I said early on about being so grateful for what I get to do? I've often contemplated, do you remember when I said how I was jealous of Todd because he got to start so early? I was contemplating that one day, and I thought to myself, if I had accomplished what I've accomplished in my life today, back when I was 30 years old, I'd be a dick. You follow me? I'd be an arrogant jerk who would think it was all about me and all about, the adulation and all the, excitement and all that kind of thing. So it's really interesting that it didn't happen to me until I was much older, when I had a very different perspective. My perspective now is, what can I give back? What can I do to encourage you or help you through a difficult time in your life? Or perhaps just one little positive word at just the right moment could change the trajectory of your life. And when I started, I thought I was just voicing anime characters, Never really occurred to me that I would have any kind of influence over anybody. But then I started getting fan letters from people that would say I was about to end it until I found Full Metal Alchemist, and it got me through a really dark time. Or in high school, made me laugh and smile when my family was breaking up. Or I was fighting a disease and such got me through it. And suddenly I'm like, oh my God, how humbling to be a part of people's lives and hopefully be able. So when you're given that opportunity and that privilege, you better do something good with it. Don't, you know what I mean? If you've been given the opportunity to make a positive difference in people's lives, you better do it. You know what I mean? You better do it. And so one thing that I think the most important thing to me has been over the years has been to want to be able to give back. You know, I used to go to Star Trek conventions when I was your age. And I would stand at an autograph table across from Leonard Nimoy. And he was signing an autograph, and I was like, Mr. Spock, I mean, Mr. Nimoy, pleasure to meet you. Mr. Takei, Sulu, right? Nichelle Nichols, oh my, Scotty, oh my God, right? I would have never imagined that I would be on the other side of the table and that anyone would care. You see what I'm saying? To meet me the way I looked up to them for what they meant to me in the show they created. So it does not escape me the importance and the potential impact that I and anyone in the industry can have. And I want so much to make a positive impact. I screw up. I'm a stupid human being, just like you. You know what I mean? Like, we all make mistakes. I've done a lot of dumb things. I've said things I didn't mean. I did things I wish I hadn't have done. I mess up all the time. But I want to, you know what I mean? But I want to do right. I want to make good choices. And so one thing I've learned is to be grateful for the opportunities I've been given and always remember to be grateful. On the worst day of your life, you have 100 things to be grateful for. And you can either choose to focus on the one bad thing that happened today, or you can remind yourself of the 100 things that you just took for granted that happened today that were blessings that you just didn't even think about. The fact that you can look at me right in the eyes right now, you have eyes that work. You know what I mean? There are people that don't. Look at that smile. You know what I mean? You can get up and walk out of here. That's a blessing. The air in your lungs, that's a gift. You know what I mean? So many things. People that love you. Did you eat something today? That's a blessing. Hundreds of thousands of people around the world that didn't eat anything today. Do you have a home to go back to? I mean, so many. Did you ever go to school? Education? I mean, a million. I'm sorry, that got kind of heavy. Sorry. No. And here Andrew in the back room is giving a 5-minute sign. I know we lost like 15 minutes being seated, but hey, promise you'll come back tomorrow, okay? I promise I'll talk about fun stuff. I won't talk so heavy. But what time's the panel tomorrow, Andrew?
You have to ask questions, I swear.
Accessing computer banks.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. In what room?
Panel room 5.
Panel 5. So please come tomorrow and we will continue our fun stuff. Yes, last question probably. And I have some fun videos to show you tomorrow and everything, so we'll have a fun time tomorrow. Will you pass that down to her?
Hi, Vic. Hi. All right, so one, I'm glad you're feeling better because I met you at Anime Next 2011 and you were sick, so I'm glad you're better. That's a blessing.
Yes.
All right, so my question is, you probably don't remember too far during your Persona 3 days, but Junpei, yes. I was dying to hear that. Sorry. Do you have any memories of outtakes you had with Michelle Ruff when you did Junpei and Yukari during recording, or any fun times you had afterwards?
Well, you know what?
Persona is one of those fun things that you did and you didn't really know if anybody even played it. I never heard of it. And so it's been really fun for me to go to conventions and people come up and go, man, I love Junpei. I was like, really? You know that game? And I get excited because I didn't, some shows are kind of big shows or whatever. But Persona was one of those things that I was surprised that people enjoyed it and knew as much about it. As far as fun stories, I will tell you this. As I said earlier, we record by ourselves. So I know Michelle Ruff and I love Michelle Ruff, but we didn't record together. In fact, if we don't get scheduled to be guests at a convention together somewhere, we may never meet each other. That's a really interesting reality, isn't it? So many of you guys think the people that are in the cast of a show, we all know each other, we hang out, we're friends, we do these shows together. But the reality is, you could do an entire show and never meet the people that are in that show with you because they come in and record separately. Guess who I've never met? The woman who played Trisha Elric. The woman who played my mother in Full Metal. I've never met her to this day. You know why? Because how many lines did Trisha Elric have? 15, 20, right? Which means she came into Funimation one day, went into the booth, did her lines, and was probably gone in 45 minutes. And I wasn't even in town. I was in Houston or something, right? She never came back, and she doesn't do conventions. So I've never met her. And I feel like I know her. That's the weird thing, you know what I mean? I feel like I know her, but we've never met. And that's one of the interesting things about anime, is when you hear these people's voices in your head, right? If they've already gone into the studio and recorded, I hear them. And I can play off of them or respond to them, unless I'm the first one to record, and then vice versa. They come in later and respond to me. But you hear their voices and you feel like you know them. And so when you meet them for the first time, it doesn't feel like the first time. You feel like you already have a connection. So that's one of the weird things about doing anime. You guys, I'm out of time. I love you. I'm so glad you came. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Please make plans for two things. Number one, come see me at Autographs, and I hope to see you at the panel tomorrow. Thanks for coming, guys.